All right, we're good. We're starting. Okay, so
Awesome.
we've got Thicky Minaj, nice, our battle mage in the Monkeys Guilds. All right, what level are you? 246. Okay, you're still 246, or have you been grinding?
Yeah, 246. Haven't really had time to totem this week, but
Okay, but you are like within this event, within Night Troop. Do you have any goals set for yourself? Like, how are you seeing the Night Troop event for you?
I definitely want to hit 250 with this Night Troop event.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's that, juicy level pot at the end of this daily login stuff, so I'm hoping to use that for 249. And probably get my Legion up a little bit. I'm sitting just below like 6.5k. Hopefully get that up to at least 7, hopefully. But
It's just like a general goal alongside that, or is that also for part of Night Troop, or?
yeah, for Night Troop I'm hoping to get to 7k and 250 on the main.
And you're good on like totems for that and Legion coins to kind of fund that habit.
Yeah, I have like I think 9 totems left or 10 if you count the daily login ones. So I have 10 totems, so should be enough at least to get me to 249 and at least a couple 200s. But I might just level some Legions like totem lists if I have to. That's not too bad. So
yeah, up to like you got like everything up to 140. Oh, you still have some character slots available as well, right?
Yeah. I think I don't have an Angelic Buster link, so I'm probably gonna make an AB next, at least to 140.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those 140s are really free now, right? Compared to all the other characters you have. So you got 5 more characters that can slip in there. 5 more 140s is 700 levels, so that's your 7k right there.
Yeah.
You don't even have to hardcore grind anything. Any maroon level 150 characters up to 200 or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which can be sometimes people's accounts. You have some characters that are just between heaven and earth, kind of no purpose, kind of floating in between.
Yeah, that happened to my TV. And then I just was sitting at like the 140 goblin house just trying to get some pencilier.
Yeah, those characters with those like expired temporary Fafnir or something. You're completely naked when you come back to it. That kind of deal, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so as a battle mage, what's your daily routine, weekly routine? What kind of stuff do you do?
Yeah, so daily I try to get, as much as I can. Ursus, Arcane dailies are, non-negotiables. Daily bosses, I just do Arcarium. Essentially, I kind of skip all the rest of the daily bosses.
Okay. And Helix, do you do that one?
Oh, Helix as well. Yeah, sorry. I do Helix. That's also a non-negotiable because I know that takes such a long time.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like Helix should be a weekly or something, but it's still a daily technically, yeah.
Yeah. So I do those dailies, and then usually I'll do the weekly bosses on my main or one of my bossing mules for like 4 days out of the week, I guess. And then if I have time, I'll try and pop a totem, but sometimes it gets too late and I'll just skip the totem for the weekend.
Yeah. Like, do you generally like in a month, do you generally get through most of your totems or not? Like, what's the ratio there typically?
Not until recently have I actually started using most of my totems. Like before, I kind of maybe pop like 3 totems in excess of like the 2 totems we get from the login.
It took me like 5 years to get to that point as well. So no worries.
Yeah. So I didn't quite realize how much toteming like really helps. I was, I guess, kind of stingy with them, I should say, because I was pretty low on reward points, at least until I got my bossing mules up in Destiny. So
yeah, and they increased also recently, right? How much you get from the weekly bosses, and all the bosses giving reward points, and now you're like drowning in them compared to before.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm starting to use at least half now. At least this month I should reach at least half. But prior months I wouldn't say I was using more than 25%.
Okay. So you find yourself having the time to do those sessions, and then I guess you're really getting a lot of mileage out of your Legion coins, because those are, you know, close to zero. So you're definitely using those.
Yeah, I've been kind of toteming more often now, especially just to grind Meso, especially leading up to this 5, 10, 15. So just trying to use as many resources as I can to get prepared for this event. So.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, and it's not like 6.5 or 7 are specifically insane Legion ranks you really need to get on or something. It's just one extra block and that's it. So it's not like a 5.5 or a 6, right, where you get access to way more, or like an 8k where you get way more characters on the board where you really want to buy that upgrade immediately. You could be like at 6.6 and not have bought the 6.5 yet. Like, it's not a huge difference, right? It'll be like 3 or 4% normal monster damage difference. You know, not the end of the world. Okay.
So, hoping to at least reach some short-term goals by the end of Night Troop, and then, you know, with Ignition around the corner, hoping to get at least another bossing mule out of that. So.
Yeah. So the main thing in Ignition, of course, being a hyper burn. Have you given that some thought? Like, who are you planning to hyper burn?
Yeah, I always get like decision paralysis when it comes to making a new class, but again, I know the answer is always, you know, play it till 200 and see what you like. So right now I'm debating between like Ilium, Corsair, and Thunderbreaker. But obviously Thunderbreaker, I want to try it out in the new patch before I really decide on it.
Yeah.
But
these are all existing characters, right? So there wouldn't be any of the new characters would be existing 200 plus that you were terra burning?
Yeah, I think my Ilium's at 200, my TB's at 210, my Corsair's at 140. I might just remake that.
Okay, yeah.
Because it might be easier to just start over than push to 200 and then try and hyper burn it. But I mean, I might be able to get it to 200 in Night Troop, so
yeah,
we'll see how that works out.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, at least you've got like a few that are all like on in the maybe pile, so that's already a start. And then based on that, yeah, I would definitely try the Thunderbreaker out as the new one. And the Thunderbreaker is that one over 200?
My TV was actually one of the first character I made on Reboot back in winter 2020.
The olden days.
Like right before the trial, the TB nerf. So.
I see. Okay.
So right when I hit 200, I'm like, the next patch notes come out, and I'm like, all right, let's just remake this.
Okay.
So I switched mains pretty quick. I can't say 200 was really even a main in the first place. So.
Yeah, I mean, what feel like 200 now feels like the bare minimum for a character to even exist, and then of course, like when you were just starting, 200 meant like that was the highest you'd ever gotten. Your reference frame completely shifts, of course.
Yeah, and that was a pretty tough one just because I didn't know about like star forcing or like links or anything like that,
or
potentials. So I just brute forced it straight to 200. So it seemed like I just climbed this mountain, but
yeah. But it's crazy how you can actually do that if you're just not really missing anything, or you're not really aware of what you're missing out on, right? Because a lot of times once you get used to like a higher level of comfort and a faster grinding pace and all that, it's really hard to tone it down and be like, and to settle back into like a slower class or something. That's really, really difficult in general to do once your standard is up there. But you go back on some old characters that you cleared and you're like, damn, these... how did I ever get here? Like, this is crazy. I have nothing on this character. I have no business being this high of a level. But then you're like, well, that was just a standard back then, you know? Like.
Yeah, but I've been, messing around with the TB a little bit. It's fun with the new linking skills, but I'm not sure how much my hands can take it, for 3+ hours of grinding.
Yeah.
I need like IRL attack speed 0, so.
Yeah, to which extent you're really playing the character well, or it's simply you're just button bashing and you kind of getting it, but maybe not completely. Like, yeah, no, I get what you mean, because it's so fast at a certain point. Not even sure that you're chaining it like through different scenarios and all of that. Like, I would have to really sit down and look at those combos and stuff. I mean, you're doing the Battle Mage, which is definitely above average on the key inputs as well, right? A lot of telecasting going on, even with your longer range attack now, which I assume feels great in some situations. They still want you to be really close to the boss because you want your Dark Lightning to hit right on the teleport.
Yeah. So although, admittedly, I don't telecast as much as I should. I think sometimes I just proc the mark with the altar and just sit back for... I mean, I'm not doing any super challenging bosses yet, but I'm sure I got some practicing to do at least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What's the... Well, what would you say is the most challenging boss that you've done?
That I've cleared? I can clear up to... like normal Lotus and Damien and Helix, I guess, if you could consider that a hard boss.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely clear Elucid, and I think I'm at 25k stats, so I can do normal Lucid parties.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say I've actually tried that yet. Right now I've just been primarily focusing on trying to just grind to 250.
Okay. And normal slime is usually also in that batch. Have you given that one a try?
Also, no.
Okay.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
guys,
I don't know.
At least try those out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, cool, because you're grinding more, right? You're taking more time into totems. Seems like you're not actively playing like 8 hours a day, so you have a limited, amount of stuff that you can do in a day, of course. But I don't know to which extent that's one way that you find yourself. 'Cause that's usually a question I ask, right? Like, how do you kind of gauge your progress in the game? And a lot of people say, like, well, based on the bosses I can do. But of course, that's not the baseline necessarily for everyone. Some people just be like, oh, I just, look at my level, or, look at how big my cover score is, or, there's a bunch of metrics that you can use yourself to kind of see, like, how am I progressing, or some people like doing dojo, for example, or like climbing Dream Defender, I don't know, right? And for some people, it's like whatever boss I can solo, or whatever boss I can do in a party. So I don't know what you kind of see as your metric, as you feeling like you're progressing.
Yeah, I'd say I feel like I get the most sense of progression from, I guess, just gear progression.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought it was a pretty big milestone when I, got full Absolabs, or I guess 5 Absolab.
Mm-hmm.
And then another big milestone when I got...
Not even the overall? Come on, bro.
When I got like full Sub-Gollux gear. I mean, I have the ring, but it's not Star Forced yet.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I think I get the most sense of progression and enjoyment from the game just from getting new pieces of gear. With that said, I don't really like being carried through things without clearing it the first time myself, because I feel like that's kind of cutting a corner to me.
But say yourself, you mean just carrying your own weight, or necessarily solo, or in a small party? Like,
it doesn't have to be solo. I just mean like if I'm joining a hard Lucid party or something, like, and I'm just literally just dodging and giving people auras, like that to me seems more like a carry versus like I'm at least pulling 20% of the party.
The thing with that is, though, that you are more of a support, so it's going to be, part of it is going to be mental, where people will still feel kind of like they're getting carried because they're more of a support. It's hard to, you're really going to have to get down to some maths to be like, okay, how much am I actually helping the party by doing that, maybe by debuffing properly, maybe by giving auras, and by putting down shields sometimes so people can survive, that kind of stuff. That is a valuable service that you're giving to your party, but sometimes it's not as easy to see how valuable that is until you really get down to, this is 20% final damage to the whole party. Oh, cool. That means that just by giving that debuff, I'm like, I'm already doing I'm already doing my damage, right? If 5 other people do 20% more damage, that's like one whole person's damage extra, right?
Yeah.
So if you can increase everyone's final damage by 20%, that's already you, and then anything you do on top of that, that's like bonus, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why I chose the Battle Mage, because I do enjoy like the partial utility versus
not like 100% utility, but you could also do some other stuff.
Yeah. So I do enjoy those hybrid classes.
Okay. And because which other, like, Shade I see is your second highest, so that would be, for me, that would also fall in that same category, right?
Yeah, that was my old main. and then I don't know, maybe got bored, or I think I've been playing on and off. Essentially seasonally.
I see. Okay.
Usually just for the the winter and then the summer
Yeah,
events.
really big event. Okay.
And I try to play like as long as I can, but eventually I burn out a little bit. So then I just put the game down, and pick it back up later. And I think
I see. Now, what burns you
winter
out?
20
If you kind of like looked at that?
I think part of it is lack of goal setting, and that's something that I've kind of gotten better at in the last year or so. When I understand more of the game, it's easier to set goals.
Yeah. You don't know what's completely realistic and what's so out there that it's like, even it could be so far of a goal that it becomes demotivating in itself, right?
Yeah. So with the Shade, I think I, cleared CRA, cleared Pinot, and then I wasn't really sure how to progress to the normal Lomian. So I think there was like one DMT where I got all my stats up, and then I didn't realize like my Shade's sitting at like 13k stat that I probably could have at least tried it. But I just didn't know that I could. I kind of put it down, and then with the Battle Mage, watching, I get like more of your streams and some progression videos. I understand that like, okay, it's actually not that big of a gap. So at a certain point, essentially, long story short, when I don't set a goal, I just feel like I'm logging on to do the dailies for no purpose.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't really aim
just
towards anything. You're just doing chores, but you're like, why are you physically doing it if there's not like at least some kind of reward at the end of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
and then
now, like,
after
kind of
2 weeks,
setting those milestones,
yeah,
really helps.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you mainly talked about short-term milestones, right? Like the 7K Legion and getting to 250. Those are still relatively short-term. So does that work best for you, that you just set a few short-term and then you reach them and then you set a few more short-term? Or is there something in the back of your mind where you're like, I do want to, do like Chaos Gloom and Hard Dark now, and I want to do Black Mage someday? Like, is that somewhere in the back of your head, or is that not at all part of your thinking?
Eventually, I do see myself playing this game at least for the next year and a half, 2 years. So hopefully I could reach Black Mage, but I'm not sure if it really how long it takes. But I'm hoping my next big milestone would be to get like all Arcanes is my next big jump.
And then if you work your way back from that, does that kind of give you like your more short-term things to work on?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's like, okay, there's my, normal Lucid, normal Will. So.
Yeah, you want to get the whole set, so you need to be able to buy them or get the boxes, which means you need to do Hard Lucid and Hard Will. Level-wise, you're already pretty close, which means gear-wise you need to catch up, and mechanics-wise you need to catch up, and you need to find a party, maybe a guild. If the guild can already do that, if you already have a little bit of a hookup for a party, that's already good. So then the main thing is getting the equips up. What do you need for that? You need events and you need money. And then what do you need to aim for during those events and with that money? And then getting the backups before that, right? And then maybe you need to make some extra steps for the backups if you don't already have direct access to getting backups. And then you can completely like backtrack like the short-term steps from the longer-term steps. So you want to be purple. That's the goal. You want to be full purple.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. That'll be the title of the video, and then we can see how we can help you with that. So one thing is going to be droplets, of course, and then drop rate helps with that. The other thing is grinding out an area where they drop, or you can also buy them with Mezzo, of course. And the second thing is, of course, going to be killing those bosses, so that we'll keep that in the back of our heads. Hard Lucid, Hard Will, and so, but normal Lucid and normal Will you've never tried yet, right?
No, I haven't.
And where do you find that stops? Just not the motivation to do it, not enough time, nobody like in your guild or buddy list doing it? Like, what do you feel is holding you back from just giving that a go?
Yeah, I mean, partially it's I've essentially played this game entirely solo, like up until this point.
Okay.
And I'm a part of a guild. I do covert, every week for them, but I can't really say, I like talk to them in Discord or anything like that. So part of it's just I don't really know anyone.
Okay.
The other part of it is that my more immediate goal has been like pushing 250 and getting my Legion up, especially during this night troop event. So just my more immediate goals kind of take up most of my time. So like learning a boss kind of just is put on the back burner at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you get to the point where you do have the money, but you don't have the equips to upgrade them with, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And then since you can't make those jumps in those equips because you don't have them, or you don't have the amount of backups to risk them, then you get to the point where you can't hit those damage caps to really be what you want to be, is a valuable enough member of the party that can carry his own weight, because you can't try the bosses in the first place, so mechanically you can't carry your own weight, and then because you don't have the drops and you don't get the damage, then damage-wise you also can't carry your own weight, so then you're missing it on both fronts there, right? So we'll try to see if we can bring you forward on both of those things. Yeah, okay. Okay, I've got a good idea of how we can go about this. So, I guess before I completely go into it, are there a few topics that you wanted to definitely dive into and kind of get to the bottom of to make sure that you 100% understand? Maybe like as a foundation before we kind of go more into the deeper stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few questions. One pertains to just preparing for this upcoming event, which I feel like we'll kind of get into as we talk about progression. Other one would be Threads of Fate. I have, the closeness and everything, and I've watched probably 5 videos on how to, get the right prompt and stuff like that. For the ask, and I know I'm supposed to chop wood, or I think there's one other one.
Gather herbs, yeah.
Gather herbs, yeah. So I understand that once you click the ask, you do the ask for one of them, that person will reset for the next day. But what I don't quite get, or it's going to reset for the next day, and then you can ask
the first person you ask of when reset has happened, the first time after reset when you click someone, that person's ask is going to reset to a different one.
Yes. So I'm wondering, how do you know whether the first person you ask has the herbs and wood without resetting them, so you can ask the other person? Does that make sense?
Well, so I did it on this character. I just only unlocked 2 characters, right? This is the bare minimum because I didn't want to go through the whole thing like I did on my other character. So I unlocked Ibaraki and Takenoko. These are the first 2 characters that you get. So in the beginning, you just talk to them, right? Get them to 50, and then you gift them the right items, get them up to get them up to 100. But as soon as I hit 50, you can do ask. And then basically you just ask the first time, and then probably neither of them have what you want. And then whenever reset happens, you just click either one of them and it'll reset. The other one that you didn't click will still give you the same ask as it did the previous day. So you just reset one of the characters at reset, and then that's it. So then you have to wait until the reset after that to try again. And you just wait. For this character, I needed to wait almost 3 weeks until I got one that got chop wood, which was Takeno. So I could do ask, and then you wait 30 minutes, blah, blah, blah. You get your stuff, and then you can go again. But remember not to CC, right? If you're training in the same map, if you're AFK, something like that, you can do them all in a row. You can do 5 per day that you can complete. Remember, don't do if you do 1, but you talk to her and redeem it after reset, it'll count as 1 completed for that day. So if you do your 5th one, at a half an hour before reset, and then you pick it up right after reset, it'll count as 5 clears on that next day, and you can't do anything on that next day. So it's better at that point to just log out so that it resets, and then do the thing again. So I know that this one has the chop wood, so every time after reset happens, first I talk to Ibaraki, do ask with Ibaraki, and if I've done my 5, the first time it'll give you a thing that you can't do ask anymore, but that's just, kind of a bug. Then you click ask again, and then his will reset. And then I just log out, and then I can safely click on her again because I know she has chop wood because she'll keep it because I've already reset for that day.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So every day, hypothetically, if I'm searching for the chop wood,
Mm-hmm.
I'd ask one person, check the other, and then the next day I'd check the other person, and then
Or the same one. Doesn't matter. The first one you ask will
Okay.
reset and will possibly have it. And if that person doesn't have it, then you just have to wait until the next reset and reset one more. The only way you can scale up is by unlocking an extra character, and that gives you another one extra reveal.
Okay. I think that answered my question. I think I got
You think so? It's like you're revealing. Remember, like the Chaos Ring? Did you ever get a Chaos Ring with a bonus stats on it?
No, I did not.
Okay. It's basically like you're revealing potential, and you get one free cube per day. Is basically what it is.
Okay.
And the other one will just stay the same, and then the first one you click will re-roll their ask, and the other one will just stay the same.
Okay.
So that's why when you want to unlock at least two, right? So that you can always keep one to have the same thing, and you just always reset the other one, and you don't care. Like today, I clicked the other one to reset, and it also got chop wood. So now both have chop wood, but I still reset it because he had a lower closeness. So with 55 closeness, I would only get 10 bags if I complete it. With 100 closeness, I would get 20 bags. So I still reset this one. Because you can only give up to 7 items per week, right? For 3 each, so only up to 21. So I could only get up to 76. So the most I could get was 14 bags. But I already know that she gives chop wood, so I just reset and then get the guaranteed 20 bags. It should be... one more minute, okay. Very particular about the time. Okay, that makes sense 100%? No more doubts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know how to search for the right one now.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
And then one of the other questions I had was just about being efficient when toteming for the purpose of Meso, because I've been grinding in Mirror Touched C4 with the Amanias, just to try and get some familiars as well as Meso and everything. And when I totem, I'm getting probably an average of between 18 and 19k mobs killed.
Okay.
And I'm browsing Reddit and I see that some people are saying, oh, this Dark Knight can get 25k mobs killed per hour. And I'm thinking, like, I think Bam is probably a better mobber than Dark Knight. So I'm wondering if, like, it's just map dependent, or if, like, I don't know, I'm doing something wrong. I know that's probably a little...
Yeah, I've got some data.
Question.
So sometimes you can see, like in MTS2, these numbers are all really close, right? Like the lowest here is 13, low 13s, and then the highest is at 17. That's a decent gap, but that's close-ish. You see in MTS3, you got some 20+ K people, and you got like a 17-ish K person. But what it basically comes down to is what people usually call one-shotting, which is kind of, I mean, that's like a term from 2008, right? Nobody cares if you kill something in one hit. That doesn't really mean anything. What you care about is if you map clear, right? Can you clear the full map or most of the map before the respawn happens? If you can reliably do that, whether it's with one hit or with 16 hits, how many times your class hits doesn't really matter. But that means that you can get the highest rate. So always have a totem and kill as many monsters in the rotation as possible. Do you find, like, if you're rotating the map, do you find that monsters often, like, survive hits and are left with, like, a little bit of HP left? Or is the matter getting around the entire map and hitting everything?
I think most of the gap is when all my summons are up. I'm full map clearing before spawn on totem. No problem. When I forget what it's called. The big
altars
guy. No, I think I only use 2 altars, so I can have permanent altars.
Okay,
Up, clearing like 3 platforms, just the 2.
Because that's the thing as well, like staggering big buffs. The further you go, the more important that becomes to make sure that you don't. If you're on the weaker side, you might need to use everything so that for a little bit of time you have full map clear, and then for the rest you don't. But ideally, you want to go to a situation where you always have like one of your big buffs up, but never all of them at the same time, so that you always have some big effect going on that helps you clear the full map. Because you're talking about Big Reaper, that's like that big summon, right? That basically just chunks off half of the map and just constantly kills it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the uptime on that, like percentage-wise? Is it like a 33% uptime kind of thing?
Yeah, 33 or 40%, I think.
Battle Mage.
But I one-shot completely, even with the teleport lightning. So that's not really.
So getting around the map is probably the part, like the pathing and finding how far you go into the corners of the map.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't need 5th jump advancement. I need 5th jump skills, bro. Oh, skills. Here we go. Yeah. So during. Because that's really going to be the amounts, right? Totem, of course. It is one thing, though, to just refresh your totem more than you might think, because dropping your totem regularly is also kind of bad. And then the other thing is that your loot rotations, if you are going to be looting, you want to make sure that you are not actively... that you are actively full map clearing. So probably while you have the big spectre up, right? Use that time to loot, so that you are not giving up too many monster kills while you're going around the map and looting, and specifically further away from monsters that might need destruction.
Okay.
So Aura Scythe probably helps you clear a lot as well, right? Because you can just like swipe one side, teleport down, swipe again.
I don't actually use Aura Scythe all that often, just because I feel like my teleport gets me there, but maybe I'll try different, rotations or using Aura Scythe.
Yeah, so well, with the changes, your Aura Scythe range should still be significantly bigger than just your what is your quintuple blow or whatever you call it, your final blow. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Because one of the things is, do you have a vac pet or no?
No, I've been waiting for that to go on sale because I've been interested in that.
Yeah, because one of the things is that if you have a map, are we gonna actually use paint? We're gonna use paint. Okay, here we go. Because I believe the MTS4, is it something like, I have to, in my brain it's like, is it like something like this? Roughly?
Yeah, let me TP to that real quick.
There, touch,
yeah.
C4. I just click here as well, right? You should be able to see. Okay. Cool. Paint. Almost. Control N. Okay. Control V. Zoom. Cool. Because what you kind of want to do is, when you're looking at a map to see its viability, in the beginning you want to kind of test, like, what is the range of my attacks, like what can be covered by summons specifically, and where do I need to go physically. And if you have relatively shorter range, because if you're telling me you're like not really using your Aura Scythe, yeah, that makes me wonder, because and again, I'm not a Battle Mage player, so I'm just thinking of it from like the general perspective of like, what do you do when you're trying to train? What I would want to do is that if you're trying to kill all the monsters in the maps, a lot of times you don't want to like actually go into the corners to go kill everything. You want to limit your range of how far you're moving, so that you have the most time to get around the map. So let's say like monsters that are here, for example, monsters that are here, monsters that are here, like all of those with Aura Scythe, I believe you can always kill if your character is just like standing here or here or here or here. Like you just teleport and hit that way, and it kind of like hits. So you have to see how far it hits exactly, but you might hit most of the monsters just by staying here, and then teleporting over here, and then hitting this way, teleporting up, hitting that way. If they're big enough, these will get hit as well, right? And then teleporting up and hitting that way. So I'm thinking like like moving in a U shape where you're like going up, down, up, down. I don't know if you could do that fast enough. And if you can't do that fast enough, and there's part of monsters, right, that are like out of the way, then a summon might be necessary there, specifically one with 100% uptime, and then a combination could cause yourself to do like full map clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So your altars are 100% uptime because technically they have cooldown, but you have 3, so you just use 2, and then when 1 expires, you just tap the second one, so there was always 2 of them. Am I understanding that?
We have 4, so.
Oh, 4. Okay.
We can. Yeah, but yeah, I only drop 2 at a time, so I have 100% uptime on the altars. And then Grim Harvest, the name of the Big Reaper.
Yeah.
I usually drop that on that left side with all those platforms, and it can clear top to bottom.
Yeah. Does that have a significant? Wait. So you're just summoning that, like when you're on the ground here, and then it just hits like that, basically.
Yeah, it hits the whole thing.
Okay. And you put your summons.
And then my altar, I usually go
like top right or
the bottom right platform.
Or bottom right? Yeah. Okay.
And I do it diagonally to like the top left.
Top left.
Top platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you find that it hits.
Yeah, like that.
Does that leave a lot of monsters on the top right?
A little bit. Usually it's like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Because what you can always do is do like this instead. Because, right? I don't think you ever want to do this, because then there's too much space here and too much space there, and then you have a percentage sign. I would always do something like this, because then you have a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here and like nothing here, and you're more likely that these monsters walk just close enough. Right? Because what I'm saying is there's always a range around it where they can kind of get hit, right? But now the range is this, and the range is
pretty fat. So.
Yeah, now the range is like this, right? Or like maybe like this. But if you put it like that, the range might be like this instead. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I try to get it at least a little close to the that middle platform there, because it can kind of clip the top of those.
Right, alright, so something more like this, so it can also hit here?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how fat the the hitboxes are.
Yeah, but it usually, you're absolutely correct. The top right is probably the most untouched area, and then I usually teleport along with the bottom.
Yeah,
to
okay.
those.
And you were getting how many clears were you saying? 17?
I was
16K?
getting. I'm happy to do that survey. I know you have that survey, but I usually get. I log everything, so I get between 18K and 19K. Probably average like 18.75.
Okay. Yeah, I only have one metric here for MTS4, which is a Xenon who got 15K, and Xenon also has a decent amount of summons, so I would expect that number to be higher. But you see from MTS2, yeah, you're seeing it go up to like 18, and I don't think MTS4 is that much worse in any way. So it doesn't seem like bad numbers. When you were talking about like the what was it, Dark Knight getting 25, like was that in the same area or was it a completely different kind of?
No, I think he was in like Void Current 3 or something like that. So
yeah,
that's probably the big disparity.
Well, I will look at VC3, but you see numbers here, like you see like 20. Like, you want to get over 20 there, easily, and then the people who are really good, 21, and I think you get, like, Hoyoungs and stuff, yeah, we'll get, like, over 21. I don't know about 25, that sounds extremely high. Was that... Well, no, that couldn't be with a Frenzy Totem, because then it would be really, really low, actually. Because they get, like, more than double what we do. Like, a Frenzy Totem person would do, like, 50k or something. But yeah, you see some people doing like in the 21 plus range. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, if it's a completely different map, that'll definitely be part of it. From the limited data that I have, it doesn't seem like you're doing that poorly. Somebody sent me this. Apparently this is in the BAM Discord. So this will probably be reliant on uptime of your skills, and I think Aura Scythe gets more uptime, right, as you level it. So how's the level looking for Aura Scythe?
I think my Aura Scythe's at level 20 right now.
Mm-hmm.
21.
21. Okay. So it shouldn't be too bad on uptime, right? Because that's one of those things where if skills increase in uptime, that's usually priority to level up. But it looks at 37 seconds. Yeah, so that's not too bad. That's only 3 seconds off of the max duration, so that's good. Green arrow is lucid. Oh yeah, if they're talking about lucid soul. Yeah, so if you don't have the lucid soul, you need to teleport around a little bit more. So they're using the lucid soul as part of clearing so that they can do the, I believe, the four altars instead. And then you basically teleport around this area.
Okay, yeah, that looks at least a little bit more efficient than what I was doing. Yeah, I'm part of the BAM Discord, but I think I'm still stuck in the landing page. So. Oh,
for some Discords you have to like send your IGN and your world and everything, or like agree to the to the terms of service or something before you can get like access to the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
There might be like a pinned there might be a pinned message or something with some instructions that can help you out.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit more reading. If not, I'll just message a mod or something.
Yeah, that'll usually work because I mean they're trying to help people out. So if you're stuck, they should be there to help you. Yeah. So this rotation seems to give. Wait, Jaxie, do you have any kind of idea how many monster kills this represents? If it's like a huge difference to what he's saying, like 18 to 19k. Yeah, I don't think 25k. That sounds really really high. Those numbers I've only seen from like what Crane is doing in like the higher level areas. Like yeah, someone in Waste 3 here was hitting 15.5k, but that's like almost missing no spawns whatsoever, and like one shotting with Meso Explosion like at level 280 kind of thing. I think the map caps at 22.
It was just a gross exaggeration from what I read.
It might be. The other thing might also be that you take like 5 minutes or something where you go like super duper hard and then you just multiply the number because of how much time is left, right? I always try to caution people as well of taking like small samples and then multiplying them to a larger hour. If you want a representative hourly rate, the best thing you can do is do like 6 hours and then divide it by 6 rather than doing 10 minutes and multiplying it by 6, right? Any kind of error gets magnified by 6 versus any kind of error in 6 hours gets divided over 6. So you get a way more reasonable representative number of what you can expect. He doesn't have a vac pad, no, but he was trying to get one. And of course, it really goes hand in hand because the maps with more monsters tend to have more monsters because they have more platforms. And platforms tend to have more spawn locations, right? So that's where the EXP is. But more platforms also means harder to loot. And then, yeah, they kind of fight each other on you wanting vac pad, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So maybe my rates just weren't as bad as I thought, but this screenshot definitely helps.
Yeah, someone's saying map probably caps out around 22. That sounds reasonable, which means 22 is like perfect. So most people are gonna like cap out around like 20 to 20 and a half most likely. So if you're already in the 18, 19 range, I think you're already very close to what is a reasonable rate to get. And if you don't have like the normal Lucid Soul and stuff like that to make it easier, you're gonna have to teleport around a lot more, and then maybe use the Aura Scythe right in this situation here, so you get a little bit more clear instead of having the Lucid Soul. So you have to teleport a little bit more during the what is this again? Grim Reaper, right? Or yeah.
Grim Harvest.
Grim Harvest, yeah. And then use the platforms on the other one, and then yeah, like you say, it's just like teleport up attack, up attack, and then you wait for the respawn, and then you go down and do the same thing. Try to not do the double move thing, right? Just do like half the move. Kill the monsters, wait for respawn, and then do the other half of the move. And it'll be very, very repetitive.
Okay. Sounds good.
Alright, 20k. 20k easy.
Yeah. And then hopefully, I mean, once the Urda Shower comes out, Ignition, I think
exactly. You can just use that as Lucid.
I'll just be AFKing in the middle of the map. So.
Pretty much. Yeah, half the time you'll just be setting up summons and then just take it, like being on one platform that isn't covered and just holding down the attack for the 2 stragglers that spawn there.
Yeah. So I think just waiting for that day. So.
I recommend Celis over Asphera. So Celis a lot of times is recommended over Asphera, but mainly if you're trying to get as much EXP as possible. If you're trying to get like a combination of also getting familiars, then usually Asphera is close enough to it to warrant. Again, I've got very limited data, but what I have from where is our boy? Do we have Celis here? Oh, here. Celis stuff, yeah. Yeah, you look at these numbers here. It's not like there's not too many. Like, there's 124k here for an Angelic Buster, but that's probably like some OP ass, just spamming the Soul Seekers or the Heart Seekers, whatever they're called, right? You know about that? Oh, you haven't played Angelic Buster yet. But basically, you have some attacks, and then you summon some extra pink balls that fly around. But you also have some skills that only summon those pink balls, basically. And if you just spam that, and you have them highly summoned, you just stand in the middle of the map and just spam that skill over and over, and you basically just have hundreds of those balls flying around, killing everything. And if they're strong enough and they're boosted enough, then you can actually maintain full map clear with that. That's probably what that is, because it's way higher than what anyone else is doing in that area. But you see, yeah.
Okay.
See, like the highest numbers you outline here are at like 19.5, and that's not too far away from what you're doing. So if you can choose to have familiars on top of that, and you already have the large drop, right? So that's really nice. So I think now you can start focusing on well, it's kind of still up to you, but you can start going for uniques, which I think you've been slightly doing already. And then, hopefully you catch some big boss, big IED, big healing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I have big healing already. So really just trying to get this boss damage down. IED, I think I'm pretty good on IED, at least. I can sit at 92 visual with just... I mean, that's when I put on my naked superior Gollux ring. But I can set at like 92-ish visual, and then Aura Scythe gives me another 50, and then that's also not factoring in the Weakening Aura.
Weakening Aura, yeah. Yeah, because that's on hit, right? So you can see that in your stat window.
Exactly. Yeah. And the 20% just from the boost nodes.
Yeah. And then 9% boss, the mages, when you get to that, right?
Exactly. I also have mages as well. So right now I don't have the sub ring on in this picture just because it's not star forced.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, so it just goes right up to 90 plus with that on.
Yeah. So really just hoping for some boss damage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, alright, so that's more about grinding, map clearing, all of that stuff. So yeah, definitely check into the Discord. Seems someone in the map is sending some more like layouts for Celis if you want to try there.
Yeah, I've tried Celis. The EXP rates are definitely better. I think I just want to try and get the familiars while I'm here.
No, I get that. And also, Celis is definitely like VAC-pet area because of the extra plats and all that stuff. If you have VAC-pet, then otherwise you have to really choose, like, do I want EXP or money? And that's why I get a little bit pedantic when people are like, when they say farming but they mean grinding. I'm like, I think it's pretty important to know what is your main purpose. Are you trying to make money or are you trying to make EXP? Like, you'll always get a combination of both, but what are you mainly trying to get, right? If you're mainly just trying to grind and get EXP, Celis is always high up there. But if you're trying to farm, I would never really say Celis unless you have a VEC pet. Then you can do it. Yeah, then you'll pick more like compactor maps where your pets can get to those drops without needing to go into the corners of the vast corners of the map while not being able to clear any monsters in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. And I think MTS4, at least for now, is a nice, happy medium.
Exactly.
Between it all.
It's a good middle ground. Exactly, I agree. All of the MTSs are, I mean, the 2, 3, 4 are all pretty good, right? It's just some classes just gravitate towards some over others, and sometimes you need to just take whatever's available.
Yeah, exactly. And my Mesa rates aren't too bad. I think I get like 530 mil per hour without a WAP. So with that, I should be breaking 600, which I think is decent for the map.
Yeah, and we were talking about Threads of Fate, so hopefully those WAPs start coming in soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I was always, well, same like you, was never really finishing up my totems, and I was just doing harvesting of everything that I saw, and I was like, oh, I'm fully covered for WAPs, I don't need to worry about threads. And then I actually started doing my totems, and like within the second month of doing my totems, I was like, we're getting pretty close on these junipers here. And then always like making a batch, and then the batch running out faster and faster, and making another batch, and the batch is getting smaller and smaller, and being like, okay, I need to start up Threads of Fate. And then I needed to wait 3 weeks until I got, chop wood, and then by that time I was trying on 2 characters, because that's the only way that you can reroll more than once, right? You can do Threads of Fate on multiple characters, and then roll 1 character, roll 1 friendship, ask per character, to try to kind of like scale up, and then finally got it, and then was like, okay, whew, now I can start doing Threads of Fate, and then, yeah, and then now I've made like hundreds already. Now I'm not even half the days I'm doing Threads of Fate, because you just get so many oils, and really takes a whole lot of pressure off of that aspect of the game.
Yeah, hoping to get there one day. So
yeah. Laying the groundwork now. Okay. And then your last big question was like, moving forward, preparing for this Sunday, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not skipping over any other questions that you might have with that.
What other questions I had?
We can briefly look through the screenshots otherwise and just see if there's anything.
Yeah, I think mostly it's just gear progression at this point. That's you answered the rest of my questions. So
yeah, because you know what to do with familiars. You already got your large item drop, so you're working on uniques now, trying to look for those big chunks. Matrix wise, you know what you're working on. You got your scythe.
I think I'm trying to get my aura scythe up. And trying to consolidate my tri-nodes, because I have a perfect tri-node, but I'm using 3 of them right now, and I want to condense them down to 2.
Right. 3 because you have the space, and then you can just over-level, but then you don't want to go too hard, so you're going to focus on 2, so you can phase 1 of them out.
Yeah, and I think, there's another tri-node that I can work on that's like the full map attack and like one of the dashes or something, but that's not necessarily essential.
Yeah, that's when you have so many node slots that you're like, I don't have no idea what to put left in here. Let's work on some secondary boost nodes so that everything that hits, does more damage. Yeah, but it's definitely more important to get all of your boost nodes in there. To get all your skill nodes in there. Get your decent sharp eyes. I guess decent combat orders. Yeah, and then you're looking at things like decent advanced blessing and blink and Urda's will, stuff like that. Are you going to slowly start leveling those up, or have you just not gotten any yet of those?
I've gotten them, but I've kind of disassembled all of them just to get more.
Kind of, yeah.
What's it called? Character building.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything's really character building at this point.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because if you want to go really far, I mean, you don't really need it if you want to go full arcane. It's really past that. I would say just keep 1 blink and definitely keep 1 just decent advanced blessing, just so you have access to it when you have the space. One thing I see that you haven't done as well, but maybe you don't really have the need to, but you can also right-click and lock all of your nodes so you don't accidentally disassemble them. Especially once you start moving things around, that could sometimes accidentally happen. What it also allows you to do is if you open a bunch of nodes, you can also just do disassemble and just auto-select all, and then all the ones that aren't locked will automatically get selected and automatically all disassembled when you click disassemble.
Okay, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the first to like accidentally extract like a boost node level 25 that you just unequipped or something, and then have to remake the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll do that right now, especially now that's out in the universe.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen to me.
Exactly. Now that you know about it, you'll feel even worse if it does happen. You're like, oh, damn, no, and he told me about it and I didn't do it. Yeah. And Blink does have its utility as well with Lucid, right? If you do get stuck somehow in the middle and there's a bunch of golems, and, with normal and then specifically with hard, that'll be more likely to happen, especially those first types of runs. Weapon Aura might not always save you, but being able to up teleport into Blink and then float up, that could just also save you if you're stuck in the middle. So Blink is very useful in that regard.
Yeah, I think I pulled a Blink this morning, actually.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll...
Nice. We should have locked that one as well.
Yeah.
Keep it in your back pocket. ace up your sleeve when you need that extra boost. Yeah, for later bosses as well, it gets you more useful, and it's one of the few actually useful, decent skills in the sense that, not really a decent skill, right? Like a Nova skill, but like with the Urda Nova, Urda's Will, and with Blink, they actually get decent effects from leveling as well. So way further down the line, of course, but eventually you'll want to level them up as well, because the Blink will give you 1 magic attack per level, so that will go up to 30 if it's in a level 5 slot, which is, you know, decently significant further on. And of course the cooldown for the bind goes down if you level it, and then the cooldown for the Nova goes down as well once you get very far into the game. You know, making sure that you can't get stunned or sealed or anything like that preemptively, or cleansing out of it, is very useful as well further you go. And then, yeah, Urda Shower as well, like we talked about, moving into that fountain later on. That'll be very nice to level it as well. It seems like the damage on it is going to be pretty decent, but you'll probably still want to level it.
Okay, yeah, I'll kind of keep all of that in my back of my mind.
Yeah, some of those things are not as important, like you said. Like, for most people in the beginning, you want to keep your decent skills low, and all of those extra skills, maybe keep one of them, but not start leveling them just yet, because you do want to get all your boost nodes up, and you want to get those important skill nodes up. So, I definitely understand why the priority was the way that you did it. Yeah, your Legion setup and everything.
And I'm sitting on like 300, 400 nodes right now.
Oh, okay.
I've just been kind of saving them for the Hyperburn character.
The Hyperburn, yeah, to make sure that you can get to 250 within the time limit without any kind of trouble. Not having to 18 shot your monsters once you get to 230 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think like 100 to 150 nodes already gets you pretty far, but yeah, it's better to have too many there and then be okay with 100 to 200 rather than save like 50 and be like, okay, this wasn't enough shit. So better be safe than sorry there, definitely. Okay, you got mobbing and bossing set up, but yeah, you're still working on a few things, but you're getting your ID, you're moving around, so you got to Tide of Battle. That all seems to make sense. I see you never die, so you don't need Spirit of Freedom. That's cool. I guess,
I have Spirit of Freedom in the BAM link.
Oh, of course, yeah. See, there's always one of those obvious things that I completely miss, yeah. I forget you actually... This is how you know I don't play Resistance characters, because that's just not in my brain. The only character I play that really does that, where it has any kind of effect, is like the Marksman, and then the hero sometimes heals himself a little bit, but it's like, not really relevant for me. Yeah, but very, very well noted there. And then, of course, you don't need it when you're mobbing, so it's not selected in there. That can save you some money switching things around, so that's probably better to do it that way. And then getting your crit from there, and then all flat damage. We got the Lara in there. The Bravado, so you're one-shotting with that. All of the EXP. Yeah, that seems... Yeah, that seems fine too. Cool. And backups. So that's like for Abzo, if you want to get Abzo on other characters, I guess, right? Because you've got all the Abzo you want, or were you trying to maybe make the real weapon?
Yeah, I have one
real
weapon
I see.
in my backup. I was hoping to get to at least 17 legendary potential, because I feel like having a unique potential on your weapon is a pretty big damage drop compared to legendary. So
yeah,
I'm just using the fake Abso right now.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean, if you don't need the crit, like when you get to a certain point, the crit kind of becomes useless, and then essentially it's like a, like a 40% boss line almost. It's almost like a 1.2 lines of potential, kind of like it's not even 2 lines, right? So yeah, the potential is definitely where you're missing out a lot. And if you're not anywhere close, I would say it's definitely possible to just get like a good flame on the temporary, and then you just use that as the weapon, get strong enough with all the other things, and get strong enough that way to start doing Hard Loose and Hard Will. That's definitely possible. But if you're thinking like if all the other stuff that you have is kind of on the lower level as well, and you already have the weapon, and there's a 5 to 15 no no boom coming up, like it's going to be pretty free to tap that to 17 and to work on the potential. It's going to be a pretty significant upgrade, so that would take some more pressure off of all your other pieces and really moving into full superior and the real weapon, and then, you know, slightly some gains on all the other stuff will definitely have a huge effect on your damage output. So which stuff were you...
Yeah.
So the weapon was like the main project, right? To get the weapon up there, and what other things were you thinking about star forcing? Oh, I guess before that, what's your budget?
I think I'm sitting on 28 bill right now, but I have like 3 other bossing mules that I can clear. So
it could be like 31. Yeah, so it's 31-ish before until Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, you know, I'm not really sure, you know, if I should be tapping to 21 or 20 CRA right now. But at the very least, I mean, you can look at my rings. My rings are pretty much all just Meso gear right now.
Yep.
And I just hit Meister on my Meister, so I have 2 Meisters, 3 Connor rings, and a superior Golux ring that are all kind of just naked right now.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to at the very least replace the Ilfia and the Horntail ring.
If you know, yeah.
And then I also have enough, you know, Golux coins for a reinforced Golux ring if I need that as well. So I'm hoping to get at least all those rings to 17 star.
Yep.
And really just transition out of having kind of hybrid stat and Meso gear to just having all, you know, 2-line potential rings.
Yep, sounds good.
So that's immediate on my list. And then I think I also have my Zakum face is a big, I don't know, it's a big upgrade because I have 4 pink bean marks, so I might as well just get a pink bean mark to 17 and throw that on there.
17 or 19 even should be rather free, right, during an event like this.
Oh, you think I should be pushing 19?
Well, when you're looking at the cost and everything, you said you have close to 30 bill. If you're really, like, if you're gonna do, what is it, like it's level 140 rings, right? And you technically save around, I guess, up to 17, even from like 0. It's so cheap. Like, you know, like it's on average like 700 mil. So you're doing 3 rings like that. That's 2 bill, right? And then you're doing your weapon, which is like 1 bill. Now you spent 3 bill. Now you have all of that on 17. Now you have 27 bill left.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, so it's, if you're gonna be tapping some stuff 17 to 19, even that, like let's say with CRA, no safeguard, even that is like, that looks like that should be doable within 3 per piece. So if you're doing that with the eye and with the 3 pieces from CRA, that'd be like 12. So you're still only like 15 bill in. So that's only half of your money. And now you have 4 19s and all the other ones 17.
Yeah. So my next,
if you're gonna upgrade, might as well do a big upgrade, right? And then you can then you just re-roll the functionality of the stuff that you replace, right? And then you can get some extra drop there.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot more sense, pushing CRA to, and I have plenty of CRA backups.
Yeah, you probably have like 100 of each or something at this point, right?
Yeah. Okay, so CRA to 21, 3 rings to. Do you think with as many backups as I have 3 Connor rings and 2 Meisters. I probably should stay at 17 for those, right? Because I don't have as many backups.
Yeah. The thing with those rings is that eventually you also want to do like the large Star Force tap to transfer into Superior, so they have the extra functions. But you'll want to make. I mean, the goal is probably going to be like 21, whichever one you have the most backups of first, use as itself, and then 21 the other one and use as itself, and then whichever one has the most backups, 21 again, and then transfer that into Superior.
Okay. And I guess I'd assume just getting them to as high star as possible, not transferring to superior, would be the first priority.
Yeah, you'd rather have like, let's say like a 17 superior and a 21 Kana treasure than a 20 superior and a 17 Kana treasure. Like that extra, even though the level is higher on the superior, the extra star on the one rank lower will still be more stats. So using it as itself will just end up being more stat, yeah. Even though it feels like the superiors then, you know, would be really close to being done, but now the kind of treasure is close to being done, you know? So it's... Or closer, right? Because you're not really going for any 22s, I don't think, anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless I, you know, tune into a certain streamer and get bullied into...
Yeah, for some people it's really 22 or bust all the way up, so yeah.
No. I think right now I'm just aiming for 2021 if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another Dom pendant.
Yeah, well, I think 19s is good now, and then you have another, like, probably another 2 months to make your money back, right? And then we're probably looking for Shining in about 2 months. And then you can always see some 19 to 21s go. Because if you're really, like, if you would push a 21 during this event, then you're really spending way more. 198 stars, damn. Yeah, then, like, during this event, you're looking at, like, you know, you're looking at, like, 6 from 19, right? So that's a lot, right? And you see it's spreading way more because then you have some booms. And as soon as you have a boom, you're going to be spending way more. If you replace that with 30% off, this goes down significantly. So you'll give yourself way more value in your money tapping past 17, but specifically tapping past 19. If you're looking at it like this, 17 to 19, it is going to be cheaper here than here, but not as much, right? Or percentage-wise, maybe close-ish, but since you're talking about way smaller amounts, it's way more affordable. Plus this money, you know, if you have some bossing mules online, you can make that money back. This is like an extra 900 mil. So an extra 3.5 bill if you're doing 4 pieces. But, you know, how quickly do you make 4 bill back? That's just 1 week of weekly bosses, right? So are you going to wait 2 months to save yourself 4 bill? No, but are you going to wait 2 months to save yourself like 6 bill or 8 bill or 9 bill? I don't know. That depends on how quick your income is, right?
Yeah. I'd say my weekly income is probably... I mean, my bossing mules really only go up to 4-door.
Mm-hmm.
So... call that 700, 800
7, 8, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have 3 of them.
Yep.
And then my main can obviously go up to...
I think you should definitely try Slime. It's a little bit goofy in the beginning with the doors and hitting the rocks and with possible delays and hitting the opposite side of where you want the rocks to go. And the first 2 runs will be a little bit chaotic. But after like 2, 3, the third or fourth run will be pretty straightforward, I think. And it's good crystal. You've got a low chance of that ring, but the sooner you get that started, the better. You know, it's kind of like the Pap Mark. Like you just, you kind of just have to go and then hope that you get it at some point. But it's also very valuable crystal, so it should help you with the boss mules and that one together to get pretty close to 4 bill a week. Probably like, you know, somewhere like 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, something like that.
Okay. And then, you know, if I totem, that's another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then totems.
Okay.
And then with 1 totem, you're immediately at 5.
Versus 2 or another bill.
Versus 2 or another bill, yeah. So then you get pretty close, comfortable to like 6 bill a week. So if you're talking 2 months, then you're talking 24 bill, right? 6 times 8 in 2 months, right? You're just talking about like 48 bill. It's pretty quickly how, with bossing mules, how quickly that money starts adding up.
Yeah. I love making bossing mules. It's always a nice refresher, so...
Mm-hmm. They got some 220s I saw, so they can very quickly access like 5 or 6 good bosses and immediately start breaking in some money.
Pretty cheaply. I actually made the buck. I made the Demon Slayer, burned that, but I didn't read the event properly because it was like the Explorer event, so I didn't get the Explorer reward. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just make a buck bossing mule as
I see.
So I made 2 bossing mules the last event just because I can't read. So.
Well, now you're blessed with more weekly income, so
yeah, you know.
Silver lining.
Yeah, and then I guess I'm not sure how much time we have.
Oh, we've got about 20 more minutes, so you're good.
Okay, and I was wondering if it would even. So right now we're currently at try 19 star, at the very least CRA,
Mm-hmm.
Black Bean Mark,
Mm-hmm.
17 star my rings, 19 if for a Connor ring maybe. I don't know if I'm feeling ambitious and don't want to boom with something, but
Yeah, you could definitely
I
go
also
off
have
of
access
how much money you're left over with, and you're gonna be recubing, but it's not gonna be terribly expensive. So as long as you keep yourself like, I don't know, like 4 to 5 bill of a buffer, and there are some talks that there might be a cube sale, but it's probably end of November, so that's also still like 5-6 weeks out. So I would definitely do your weapon before that. But if you're gonna do like a whole, like if you maybe want to tier up and reroll like the rest of your Abzo stuff, I'd maybe hold off until November for that. But like your accessories and rerolling that kind of stuff, maybe do that a little bit earlier, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And I'm sitting on a decent amount of like reinforced.
Yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if would it be worth it to just make a quick set of reinforced meso gear and just re-rolling the potential on my earring and my superior pendant.
Yeah, so did you have any pieces that are already like unique or something that you used before this, or did you just go straight up to superior? Like what was the earring before this one and the pendant before this one?
I think with the earring I was just throwing Meisters at it and it went to unique, and then maybe I smelled blood in the water and I'm like, all right, let's just bump this up to legendary.
Mm-hmm. So you just used like an epic like the Cetus earrings or something before this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then it's probably fine to make like to pump up like one reinforced up to 17. Make that your dropper mezzo so you can freely reroll this one. I got like a backup for all of the pieces that you are rolling out of that stat, so you really have a dedicated set of damage. So for the rings, it's obvious which ones we're going, right? Like Meister Con Treasure Ring, Superior, Reinforced. Like that's just full switching, which means that the Ephios can reroll to probably drop rate, I'm guessing, as extra drop.
Yeah.
And then for earring, yeah, you could do reinforced, and then you get a little bit of set bonus out of that, right? When you're equipping them, at least, so a little bit of bonus. Yeah, I wouldn't knock the Diacetas if you have those either. Just because of the fact that they will give you flame advantage and the boss accessory set bonus. So they're not terrible either, and they're lower level, so that makes them also a little bit cheaper to upgrade. And you could just like sneak in a 16, like very cheap, even if you just have a single one. I would definitely get at least one reinforced to 15, right? So that or to 16, so that you just have them ready for shining. Because you can, it's the cheapest now that you can ever get something to 16, right? So at least like one belt and one earring I would get ready just for the, all the way up to, because that's going to be the next jump, right? Is going to be like, can you finish off the 21 on the CRA and maybe on the Kana Treasure Ring or Meister if you have more? But also, can you do the reinforced stuff and the 140 stuff up to 21 stars and then tap into the Superior at that point? That's probably going to be like in 2 months' time, you're going to be looking towards that upgrade. That or the Arcanes, whichever comes first. But Arcanes might be a bit more RNG. This one is a bit more guaranteed.
Yeah, I have so many backups for the fodder, so might as well.
Yep.
It's pretty free.
Yeah, and maybe by then you have like 3 backup belts already, so you're like, oh, I'm just gonna try a belt first and see if it goes straight up, and I don't have to transfer. That's possible as well. Then you don't have to redo the part of the potential. That might be a bit cheaper because those can drop. But for the other things that can't drop, like the rings or the pendants, hopefully get some dominators by then, because man, those seem to not be dropping for most people. So that's also a reason why you want to get into that extra drop rate stuff, right? Switch that that face accessory, reroll this one for drop, so that you just can get into a set of like not just 4 or 5 lines of drop, but like 7 or 8 or maybe even 9, right? And that way you can get more Kana treasures, more dominators, more primals, and give yourself more opportunity to find good situations to go for. Haven't seen Dom in months. Yeah, I think I've gotten 3 in like the last 6 months or something, running on 6 characters with a decent amount of drop rate. It's a little spooky. But I haven't been running daily anymore either. And once you stop running daily and start running weekly, that is a huge difference. Gotten 4 this week. Okay, never mind. See, that's where they all went. TV Don. Leave some for the rest of us, bro. He's taking all our DOMs.
Sheesh. Yeah, I think I've gotten one yesterday, so I'm sitting on 2 right now.
Okay.
I've actually starred one raw. I've been getting it, knock on wood. Don't mean to flex, but I've gotten like 6 primals in like the last month.
Yeah, I see.
But I'm running 4 times a day, so.
Okay, great. That does add up, yeah. So for the Dom, you're just keeping it at 16 and throwing some random flames at it. I guess your flames now you might be saving for the weapon, right? That's a high priority to flame, and then once that one has a good flame, you go back to the Dom to try to work towards transposing. Is that the goal?
Yeah. I mean, my Dom was at like 20 int and 5 or something like that. But I, had some expiring flames, so I threw them at that, and then now it's kind of on this pretty bad flame right now.
Yeah, it's fine. No.
I was thinking about tapping it up to 17 at the very least, because I heard that some people are skipping Sweetwater altogether and just going straight to pitched boss.
Sure, yeah, but that's mostly people who can start running bosses and getting carried on those higher level bosses immediately with people who already have like the drops at 22, so they don't need them anymore. So that's like a very select path that you would have to walk there.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. I thought people were just, hey, just get Dom to 19, 20, and then.
Yeah, I mean, like for a reference, I've gotten 1 Berserk and 1 Dom, but I've killed both of the bosses over 100 times. So if you're going with a party of 5 and you're like sharing drops, you're looking at like an average of probably like 10 years before you can like realistically, So it's like. Sweetwater is definitely something that's theoretically skippable, especially if you hate it a lot. But it is also the easiest guarantee upgrade that is very close to it that I don't think is really worth skipping at all. Like, I would maybe skip it on like a 3rd or 4th character if I already have a really big legion. I could throw like max nodes at a character, right? I don't need to squeeze the most out of every single slot as an equip. So I can bypass certain things that I don't want to do. For example, what I don't really like doing at all is the weeklies for Scrapyard and Dark World Tree. So I make sure I get enough damage from all the other stuff, so I don't really need to go Abzo. And then I just have enough damage to kill the things around my level anyway, so I can skip it that way. But it doesn't mean that I would tell a new person, don't get Abzo. No, get Abzo. It's pretty easy to get, it's really, really strong, it's super solid damage, and you're going to need it to do Hard Lucid and Hard Will if you don't already have those other things that I do have. So it still makes perfect sense for the progression. So I would say keep this one at 16, because then you'd keep it at a transposing level, and you will be using, most likely, like a transposed Sweetwater Pendant, and you will probably get it to 22 before you can even start thinking of being like in the loot rotation for like a, the drop after that. It's like holding on to your Aquatic Letter Eye accessory, because you're going to get a pop mark anytime soon anyway, so you want to transpose into a monocle. It's like, no, that pop mark is very, very rare, but like eye patch is on the same level, maybe even more rare. So it doesn't, the whole thing, like, okay. I want to get to the best in slot so I can just skip and go towards it. A lot of times you need the step before the best in slot to be strong enough to even get the thing that is best in slot, right? So that's more what will that's more realistic, basically.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I think that covers a lot of what I was wondering. Obviously, I can tap my Abso cape and like my superior belt to 17. Like,
yeah, that's just a few extra stars. That's just finishing off, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, kind of things. I don't see a picture of a heart. I don't know if you have one or you just probably. Oh, you do have one. Yeah, fairy heart. Okay. Because the potential is just like 2-line legendary. Yeah.
And then I guess another consideration, not really sure if it should really be entertained or not, is tapping the Deimos shield up to 20.
Yeah.
I have plenty of recipes.
Exactly.
To make backups, but
so you're always categorizing things in nature of level of risk for the upgrade. So if you have plenty more, and even if you have, technically, even if you have like 3, it's all in the same category, right? Because stepping from 17 to 19, like medium booms is 0, average booms is 0.76. So if you have 3, you're like, you're at the 95th percentile within 3 booms, So a lot will have to go wrong to do that. But 5% chance to go wrong doesn't sound like a lot, but 1 in 20 people, you know, how many hundreds of people are star forcing? It's going to happen to a bunch of people, right? So there's always that in the back of your head. But yeah, I would say the shield together with like the Black Beam Mark and the CRA could be part of the same group as well. So I would just, you could go 1 star at a time on all of those items and then just see how that goes. And then just bring them all up another star. Because if the item is not going to get transferred over, right, like the 140 into 150 or 150 into 160 for some things, then you can just go 1 star at a time and then just... Because every single star, you know, on the lower end is always going to be better efficiency than the higher one, right? You're always going to get more for it back, and it can fall back less far down, right? So you're always going to have a 17 to 18. If you can, on an item with a lot of backups, you always want to do that before you do 18 to 19 on something else. But in the beginning, if you have a lot of money, you could just go up, right? But if you're starting to feel like you're kind of like dwindling down your reserves, then you want to just go 1 star at a time and just keep it, keep it closer.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind when I'm starring. I just, you know.
If you have enough, yeah, and you're just doing 2 stars, you might as well do 2 at once. But yeah, once the money starts getting tighter, then it's better to like if you have 3 items, like let's say that you during the Shining Star Force you have like your 3 CRA pieces at 19, you want to go to 21, that makes sense. But let's say that someone is going 17 to 21. Let's say you go 17 to 21 on the first item, and then that just fails horribly. You boom like 20 times. It's very possible. And then you just end up with like 16, 17, 17. That sucks because now you actually went down. But if you do 1 star at a time, you're working well all the way up to 19, which is guaranteed with that money, right? There's just no possible way. And then that first one doesn't go and you end up at 16, then you end up at 16, 19, 19. And even though you've also spent all of your money, you've actually increased 3 stars versus losing 1 star. So it's still... you can kind of cushion the blow on the horrible failure that was your session, but you've at least cut yourself into those easy gains guaranteed, and then went for the riskier that then failed.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes a lot more sense.
Because you'll see 19 a bunch of times before you hit 21. Even if you don't see 20, you probably will see 19 a bunch of times. So you can spread those 19s over the items that will guaranteed get there, basically.
Okay. I'll definitely start pushing for 19s then, and then wait till Shining to try and push 20.
Yeah, you get your weapon, you get your Spear Golix set in order, switch face 19s, and then, yeah, either Cube Sail or something like that, work and bring your pots up for your Abzos, get a good flame on your weapon, and then work towards transposing, like your pendant. You're going to be in a really good spot there. And you got your levels by then, your Legion is bringing up, then by then you got a really good shot, definitely, on getting into like Hard Lucid and Hard Will. The only thing for Hard Will really be like your Arcane Power. Where's that at?
I don't think I included it, but my Arcane Power is at 1060 right now.
Okay. Yeah, so for Will you want 1140. So you've got like a little bit of time for that, and definitely people do. But again, as a support, you don't necessarily need to meet like every single requirement. It's more important that you start running normal and start learning the mechanics and everything. And if you save someone somewhere with a shield, for example, that can save the whole run 2 minutes, you know, which is a lot of damage that you can do extra to the 3rd phase, and an extra life is really useful as well, because if you can prevent people from dying out, then phase 3 gets a lot easier, cleaning the like cleansing the webs in the map and that kind of stuff. So it's good value.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Is there any equip or any subject or anything that you can think of that we've kind of skipped over, or you don't have exactly clear where to go with?
No, I think the path forward is relatively clear. Thanks for all your help. I think upgrading this gear, starting to make an effort towards normal Lucid, and getting Arcanes 1 at a time, full purple, baby. So yeah, full purple. Because I think for finding the party, there's a few ways you can definitely. So I would definitely also double check with the map stuff and in the BAM Discord, right? I would definitely also check up on that. Yeah, for finding a party, there's definitely like the pickup group thing in the boss now. You can definitely always try that and put in a listing, right, and see if there's anyone available. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people that are actively looking, you just add them to your buddy list, and then you can always contact them later, kind of thing.
But the second thing, you were talking about the guild, that you don't really have that much contact there. Depending on how far you want to go, always be willing to like reassess, like, is your guild doing for you what you want out of a guild, and are you willing to do for the guild what it's asking of you, right? If you want better guild skills and you're willing to put in the work to do that, always contact with guild management and see like, hey, this is my situation right now, this is what I want to do, how can we like make that work, you know? And if they're either completely not receptive, or you're just completely on a different page, or it's completely impossible, then just start looking around. Because, you know, a guild doesn't want a member that doesn't want to be in it, and you don't want to be in a guild where you don't want to be. Like, it's just a mixed match. It's kind of like finding a job that has the challenges that you want, and that gives you back what you want from it, that has the correct benefits, right? You really just want to see it as a really low version of like trying to find what you're worth and trying to find a good match for yourself. And then a combination of finding in a guild, maybe, you know, checking into a Twitch chat and being like, hey, does anyone want to do a Lucid boss together? That always goes over very well compared to, I need a Lucid carry, right? Because then you can get into that whole spiel. But if you're like, hey, I've got like 2 people, does anyone want to join a normal Lucid party? Hopefully the streamer shouts you out. I try to always do that when I see someone recruiting for a party. You find one person in all these spots, and before you know it, you got 4 or 5 people, and that should be enough to already just go into normal Lucid and just fuck around a little bit, but kind of get used to the mechanics and to cleansing and to blinking and to your timing with the dragons and everything. Looking at the indicators of the boss, that kind of stuff, so you can respond faster.
Okay, I'll definitely check all these resources out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, if there's nothing left, I guess you've technically already been working for the last hour, but I guess I'll let you go to work.
Yeah, thanks. But appreciate all your help.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, good luck on everything, and well, let us know Sunday how everything went. Looking forward to your gains.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you're welcome, and yeah, I'll see you around. Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a good rest of the stream.
Thank you. Bye. All right, cool. So for everyone else looking for 5.10.15, no boom, look at your budget. Look at the calculator, see how much it's going to roughly cost, and plan accordingly. You can very cheaply get a bunch of stuff up to 17. Up to 19 can be within your budget. I wouldn't push for most people who are asking about this. I probably wouldn't push past 19. I'd probably wait another 2 months for the Shining so that you can work on that new stuff, get 17s and possibly some 19s, and also capitalize on that with some good potentials for now. And then make all your money back, and then with Shining Star Force you can reassess. But if you are, sitting in hundreds of bills, you could definitely try to tap some 21s. But again, just look at the calculators, right? You're going from 17, you want to go up to 21. You're not going to be star catching, not safeguarding. CRA, for example, is a great example. Looks like 6 to up to 9 bill. If you wait for Shining, looks closer to 4 to 6 bill, right? That's 3 pieces. That's an extra 3 bill each. That's like 9 bill extra. For some people, it's like, well, 9 bill extra if I make like 15 bill a week or something, I make that money back so fast, that difference, it's worth it getting that extra damage now, because then also you're going to be stronger. You might be able to do some more bosses, or might be able to do bosses faster, so you can regain that money faster than you can make it now as well. So try to keep that into account. For most of the times, is just check the calculator and look at what the numbers say. Intuitively, I can't really tell you either. I just look at the numbers and then see how risky do I want to get. How close is this to my budget? Do I want to keep it safe, or do you want to keep it risky? Up to you. All right. Brief shout out to the Angelic Buster. No, not the Angelic Buster. The Battle Mage Discord here, and for their temporary representative in the chat, providing us with these screenshots for the boss rotations. This and many more specific resources for classes you can always find in the class Discords. You can find them in various places. I also don't have, we don't say if you Discord. I also have links in my own Discord. I have links specifically to these class Discords for all the classes, even the ones that banned me because they just don't like me, I guess. Because even though, I can't get their direct input because they don't like me, that doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't be able to get the direct information that hopefully is up to date. These are a lot of, let's say, dedicated players to their class who have come across a lot of information and have gathered it in one place. So make sure you ask around with people there, be respectful, and try to see if you can get some up-to-date information from whichever class you're playing. All of those links are available through my Discord and then directly links into theirs. So yeah, you can get useful stuff like this, for example, from the Battle Mage Discord. And, you know, sometimes you just Google it as well and be like, hey, what does this skill actually do? Be careful, of course, because I've noticed that the wiki has been quite a bit outdated with these skills. I don't know exactly, but I think we're in version 236 or something. We're quite a bit further than this. So I'm going to have to start being pretty careful with what the exact numbers, because, of course, I can't keep track of 5,000 skills over this whole game. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a scary one. I try to keep all of my other commands up to date, so exclamation mark, whatever you're looking for in the Twitch chat, you will find that over at twitch.tv/Scardor. And if you want one of these sessions, either leave a comment saying that you would like to win, and you will be one of 2 lucky people, hopefully, at the end of the month who gets a free session. Or you reach out directly. You can check exclamation mark coaching for the details on how to get in contact with me and the pricing and all that stuff. Or you can be a subscriber on Twitch, and then you can just request them with channel points that you get through watching the stream. So then you basically only, the fee is just being subscribed. That's it. Those are ways that you can get a session. That's where you can find all the information. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you picked up something. I wish you the best of luck on Sunday. And I will see you either on the next video or live over at Twitch. Thanks for watching.